It's a tough subject, and we're back. I'm Dennis Gill, and that's Jessica Seal. Jessica, good to see you. We survived. We're taping this in the winter, folks. Well, I don't know when you're listening to it, but we live in South Carolina, and we had a forecast of snow or ice, and we survived it. And I barely survived it. Here's why. I got anxious the buildup, Jessica, the buildup to the storm, which became a big nothing burger, by the way. We didn't lose power. I shoveled my
Not that we
driveway.
wanted to, folks. Let's clarify that.
No, 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 no.
No.
I think, honestly, because a year ago in South Carolina, we went through Helene, and we didn't really forecast that too well. Like, it was like, I went away for the weekend. I didn't
Yeah,
think of anything.
we're used to that. I mean, we don't love it, but we went
No.
through Hugo. I did. You may not have, but I did. So,
And then, because we kind of swung and missed on that one, this one, they were really, really building it up. And I got like super anxious. My wife said something to me like, "What is up with you?" And I'm like, I got to turn the news off.
oh, I can't. I can't. We've talked about this before. I can't do the news anymore, Dennis,
Well, yeah, but
for
this
multiple
was
reasons now.
this is the weather guy, the weather,
Yeah.
the weather apps, the weather. It's that 24-hour news cycle. We just get bombarded with this stuff. I got totally freaked out. Friends were buying generators. My wife's like, "We need a generator."
I did $1,000. I spent $1,500 on this storm.
And did you lose power?
No, I didn't. I saw a pellet of ice.
See, I'm a little north of you. We got sleet, freeze, and rain. We got it, but it didn't hit the wires too bad. It didn't hit the driveway too bad. I think all the trees that were fragile, Helene took care of those. They're gone. Those guys are gone. And if a tree survived Hurricane Helene, this storm was nothing, but it totally made me anxious. That combination of being freaked out and then being indoors and
Yes.
not exercising. And my jam is tennis. I couldn't do it. And I was like a trapped animal. Even last night, I was like, you need to do something. Today, I might go for like a power walk or something just to burn this out because I still got it.
Well, you and I were talking before we started. I'm in the Midlands. You're in the upstate. Usually the upstate gets way worse than the Midlands. You never know. Recently, the coast has been getting things, I think, last year. But we had a person come on and you called this storm catastrophic and historical. He used those words. Hence the reason that I spent all this money. My husband and I did. We had a list. He gave us a list of what we needed to buy. When I was growing up as a child, I remember an ice storm here. I talked to my mom about it, and it was scary.
Yeah.
And
Once
so
the power
I hear
goes
you.
out.
Yeah, and it's
When the
cold. I mean, super cold. And all I could
Yeah.
think about was people were also anxious. And I don't know if you felt this way too, Dennis. People and animals. Like, I know I'm going to be okay, but people and animal, I mean, people like us that are caring and concerned for have concern for folks. These are things that we think about. It's not just about us.
So catastrophic and what do you call it? Historical?
Historical. Yes. Those were the words used.
What kind of career is that? You could say stuff like that, be totally wrong, and come back tomorrow and still have a job.
Well, to make it worse, the next day he went back on social media. So he's posting us on social media, but live updates, scaring everybody to death. And then says, "Oh, well, it's actually not going to be what we thought." People were, really concerned. And I'm thinking, and people started commenting like, "No, you were concerned. Go back and listen to your video that you did last night."
Whoa, they called him out on it?
Yeah. And there's this person's been in South Carolina for a long time, very trusted. You've got a lot of older people, maybe people that are medically fragile listening to this person concerned. It was scary. I told my husband, I was like, "Joe, I'm scared because of him." I think you felt that too.
Oh, I did. Totally. Yeah,
Different person, but same situation.
I call it being anxious, but I was scared. I was like, man, we don't have enough stuff. This is crazy. And then when we had people over Friday because it didn't start till like Saturday, really Friday, late night, midnight. And then telling me they bought a generator. Now my wife looks at me like, "You didn't buy a generator." I'm like, "Ah." No, what I did. I did one stupid thing. I do a lot of stupid things, but this was a classic. I bought an electric heater. Now I need one in my office anyway, here.
Right.
But I bought one, and my wife's like, "That's going to help when the power goes out." I'm like, Good point, hon.
Well, they were
The-
talking about kerosene heaters. That person was, and I'm like, that you made me cut my heater on right here. I bought one too, but I had a generator because I bought one of those too, a nice one. Um,
Now, if you take it back, there's a restocking fee, I think.
yeah,
Like,
no, I'm not. I thought
you got
about
to
it,
keep
and
it.
I thought about it until the lady at Lowe's said, some people try to bring these things back. I mean, how stupid. And I was like, oops, I guess I'm not gonna do.
And then there was the hoarding that went on and all that other stuff. And I felt totally guilty. I did go to the hardware store and I needed windshield wiper fluid, which doesn't freeze. You know, you could put
Yeah.
water in. Most times in the South, you could put water in your windshield wiper fluid. It's fine. But when it gets cold, it freezes. And water is one of those rare chemicals. When it freezes, most contract, but water expands.
Hmm.
And it would break the tubing on your windshield wiper. So I bought windshield wiper fluid, and there were two of them left. And I
Really?
bought them both. I felt bad. Like I denied
Did you buy
somebody.
toilet paper, milk, and bread too? That's what we
Nah,
do
we had enough
down here in
food.
South Carolina for some reason.
We had enough food, and I felt bad. I felt terrible about it. And then I go on Reddit and I see some lady buying 24 canisters of propane, and people are like, "Well, look at this hoarder." So I didn't feel so bad. Like I had two
Yeah.
windshield wiper, the last two, by the way.
When I go come up to Greenville, I'm gonna stop by and grab one of those if you don't mind. Now you won't feel so bad.
Now that it's in my car, bring it. I should donate it. And then so we're locked in a house. It is freezing, sleeting, and all stuff. And then that dude, now I'm watching the news, and the dude dies by ice. So I'm already anxious. And
What?
then, the ice, not the immigration folks of Minneapolis, not,
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about? Did ice
yeah,
fall
like
on someone? That
icicle
was going?
falling. Yeah, no, an icicle went through some guy's head. No, that didn't happen. But then the ICU nurse, and so I'm bottled up, getting horrible news. I swear, the last 3 days, my wife and I put spa music on
Good for
because we're
you.
working at home, made a world of difference.
Good for
We
you.
played spa music all day.
I love it.
It made me tired. I felt like taking a nap or had, someone putting hot rocks on my back, but it was awesome.
If you could just get the smells too. You know how they do the oh God, I love to get in
Oh
the
yeah,
smell.
like the menthol and the
Oh, the
lavender.
smell, the music. I I had a devotional last week that I read, and it said, if you're anxious or worried, I'm face to face with you, Jesus. So that's what I thought about during that.
Whoa.
When I was getting upset, I was literally feeling face to face, like there's a calming sense for us that are believers, and I am. And it helped me. And praying for our world did too, because you're right. Right now, the news is, in my opinion, sometimes the biggest part of the problem. It facilitates a lot of different things.
It's 24/7, and
Even
we're all
even the weather, like,
the
to our
weather guy.
point.
When the first flake hits, we'll be on the scene. They had these kids, and they're kids now because I'm old, but they had these people in the field everywhere freaking us out. Let's go to Jessica in Spartanburg. Let's go to, Andy and Anderson. It was like, and it was too much. Next time, spa music all weekend. I don't care if the lights go out, the lights go out. Now, when the lights went out, you brought up a good point. When the lights went out during Hurricane Helene, the weather was nice. Like we could open the windows up.
Well, it was a little warm for me, but
A little
yes,
warm.
yes,
But if the
yes.
power goes out
And it's
during a
15
winter storm,
degrees. Yes.
we got trouble.
And my mother-in-law has dementia. She's 90 years old. And she lives alone. So you have that situation too.
So here we are. We're mental health advocates, and we started 2026 anxious as can be.
We're human
And
beings,
I know. I'm already anxious. I got to sell these hats. Let me grab one. For the I'm already anxious about the fundraising efforts at Half a Star. Like we have to raise money all the time. That's anxious. The anxiety. I went and bought 400 of these. My wife goes, 400? Yeah, 400. I got a deal. The good people at Richardson. This is the camo hat thing. So now look behind me. That gives me angst. They got to go. Fundraising gives me angst. So it's a weird time. When we hang up this podcast, I'm going to put spa music on again and calm down and just get a grip on all this.
face to face. Face to
Am I-
face.
face it. And my wife's one of those, what do you call them? Empaths. She could feel energy or whatever. She goes, your energy is awful. Like I would, it was,
I, I think
I gotta let,
that's a female thing. Like we have that intuition
oh, I
around.
could feel it now on myself. I'm going to calm down. I'm going to drink my little coffee. There's a plug for our new sponsor, Starbucks. They don't know it yet, but they're
Oh
going to
my
write a check.
gosh, Tim will cut that.
They
You
don't
know what
know it
else
yet.
is really good for anxiety? Laughing.
Oh yeah.
People probably wonder why they get on our podcast and where it's a grief, suicide loss podcast, and we laugh a lot because that is medicine. It's healing. It's the body's natural way to lift anxiety. And right now, we need to laugh more, I think.
And believe it or not, I do facilitate a loss meeting, for survivors of suicide. And every now and then there was a little laughter in our last meeting. We had 7 people show up. And I thought about quitting this thing. I drove home one time from North Carolina. I drove 5 hours to get to this meeting because I'm the facilitator and nobody showed up.
Oh,
So I'm like, that's it. I'm done. And then this time, here's what happened. 2 families showed up. And when I left the room, I saw 2 of them hugging each other. They didn't know each other before they walked in there. And now they're hugging each other. And I'm like, all right, maybe I just got to keep doing this. It was incredible.
I
Some
mean,
guy, yeah,
for the
lost his.
nobody 7 show up, maybe it's
Yeah.
or
So you just
one.
got.
One, you might have made an impact. If you make an
I
impact
had
with
I
one
had that happen
person,
one night. One guy
you
showed up,
know.
and he needed the hour and a half to vent a little bit because it was raw. So I'm going to keep going. But boy, I remember here's a guy thing. This is a total guy thing. I drove from the coast of North Carolina to where I live in South Carolina, 5 hours. This is a source of pride for an old man. I didn't stop to go to the bathroom once.
Mm, yeah,
I'm proud of
that's
that. I got
uh,
the prostate the size of a coconut, and I did not have to stop. It was phenomenal.
I
And
have the kidney or the bladder the size of a pea, so I definitely would.
I couldn't have done that if my wife was in the car. We would have stopped 5 or 6 times. Um, but I made it. And I made it to the meeting and nobody showed up. And where I was speaking, they gave me another night at the hotel. And I said, I don't need the other night. They paid for it. I said, I got to leave anyway. I spoke and I left. And then I could have stayed at the beach one more night. The things you
Well,
do for the cause, Jess.
well, I want to bring up something you made me think about just now with the meetings that you facilitate and survivors of loss. I'm kind of in a weird situation right now, and I'm wondering if anybody else feels this way, and I'm wondering if anybody else has brought this up. You made me think about it. I think so. You lost your brothers how 30, 40 years ago, maybe one,
31 and 42, but who's counting?
and I lost my dad 35 years ago. I recently was reflecting, and I feel like that I am more healed from it than I've ever felt, and it scares me. I'm sad about that. Does that make sense? I don't have the overwhelming
Sort of.
sadness that I had for so long, and I almost feel like I'm sad that I don't have it. Does that
It's
make
almost,
sense?
it does make sense because what it does is like you don't want to forget them. You don't want to lose that hurt. And
Yes.
it does fade over time, believe it or not, because it's 31 and 42 years. The hurt was so intense
Yeah.
immediately there. Oh, brutal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how we all
Yeah.
function,
Yeah. I
everybody
don't
listening.
either. I know.
And then
You're
it starts to
normal if
fade.
you feel that way. It's normal, and it may feel that way for a while.
No, well, what was intended for evil, we're doing some good here with the podcast and other stuff we're doing. And maybe that's helping us. We're trying to help other people. Maybe that's the healing part. David Kessler, he's coming to South Carolina. He has a book out about the 5 stages of grief. He has the
Hmm.
6th one called Purpose, Finding Purpose in Your Pain. And he is coming to South Carolina. I'm going to go see him. I saw him speak at a long-term survivors meeting. Long-term
Hmm.
survivors is like 5 or 10 years after the event, and AFSP does it every
Interesting.
other year. Yeah, it's a good conference. If you want to go, it's
Yeah.
happening this year. I think it's in Baltimore this year. Great conference for healing. I presented last year and about finding your voice. It was incredible. And then David Kessler was the keynote. But that finding your purpose part, after all the anger, whatever those five stages are, denial, them all.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
finally acceptance. And then there's a,
Bargaining. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then the sixth one he coined, and he did a lot of work with that woman, Kubler-Ross, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. He was a protege of hers. He says the sixth one is purpose, finding purpose in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you and I found purpose, the
Mm-hmm.
podcast, the foundation, the Camel Hat Club, the safety plans we do, everything we do, postvention, lost teams. We found purpose, leadership talks, we're finding purpose in our pain. And maybe that's helping us not feel the sting of it as much.
Yeah. I don't know. It just is something there
Trying to help
again.
here, Jess. I'm trying to help you.
Well, we had that weather, but so let's
Yeah.
remember something. Not that triggered it, but you're stuck inside. Your brain's going wherever.
Mm.
Like you were talking about the owner. I'm a new owner of a business. Everything's strange to me right now. I'm super super proud. It's like you work really hard to get where you want to be, and then when you get there, you're like, okay, what now? And part of that, I felt like I was like, what else is happening with this? And then I was like, I feel like I don't feel the pain I used to feel as much as I used to feel it. And then I got sad about that. And I was like, what? So I feel like when you go through life changes, it triggers too different feelings that, you know, I don't know. I can't describe it. It's weird. I've never heard. I'm glad the long-term survivors meeting, for those of us that are, I would love to attend that because I've never even heard of that concept. And I think it's a different level of
Yeah,
love.
it's another stage of grief, and it's like, well, now what do we do?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're pretty sure they're not coming back after 31 years. What do we do with it? It's a great conference. I'll find out more about it. We'll put the link in the show
Yeah.
notes, at least a placeholder. I haven't seen a call for presentations or speakers yet, but I did get a save the date thing, and it's in Baltimore. So I'll definitely
We
find it.
should present, Dennis.
We should, about the
We should.
podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. We should.
We'll
Um,
do it.
yeah. But I think it's important to tell folks too, sometimes when you get to a point where you are starting to heal and you don't think about it all the time and it doesn't like consume your life, it's like the loss of a grief can be the loss of a friend. And I know that sounds strange, but it's always there with you and you've gotten used to it and then it goes away and it's bizarre sometimes.
It is bizarre. And no, you just gave me an idea. We're going to have, there's two women who co host that long term survivors meeting. We're going to grab one of them to be a guest.
I would love that.
And we're going to plug it and we're going to ask them questions about it for other long term survivors of suicide loss. And it's going to happen. One of the women who does it this is a small world. Her last name is Gillen, Diane Gillen, but she spells with E-N.
Mm,
And
that
this is
is
how small the world is. It's someone told me about her, and then I found out that her sister. The world is small sometimes. Her
yeah.
sister worked at the tennis center where I play tennis. So I went up to her one day at the counter. I said, "Is your sister Diane Gillen?" I said, "Yeah, I need to get a hold of her." Just that's how the world is.
Okay.
She goes,
Stop.
"Well, she's in the yeah." I think we dated in high school. No, it wasn't like a stalker thing. I was like, she's doing this thing, and she goes, "Oh yeah." So she gave me her number, Diane, and then we became fast friends. She actually comes. She and her husband came and saw me speak when I spoke at Kennesaw State University. That's where they live, down that area.
In Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, in Georgia, and Georgia. That's my New Yorker, Georgia. And it
Georgia.
was the first time. That talk was the first time I ever used a DJ. By the way, you were at a talk where I used a DJ.
Yeah.
Kennesaw State University was the first time I ever used a DJ. And it worked. The guy was looking at me like, hold on, we're doing suicide prevention. You want one of my students to be a DJ? And I'm like, yeah, I need it.
Exactly. Because when you say suicide prevention, I think people think we're all going to be sitting in there dressed in our black. I have black on today. Very forlorn and, down. And there are pieces of that. But again, that laughter, that real talk, I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why we do it.
When we did the show last year, the DJ, the audience participation, the people that came by on their one wheelers, no one expects it, but it works. So I'm going to keep doing it. So actually, it's still this weird small world. Every time I go to a college, I hire a DJ or a kid, and I still stay in touch with them. The Kennesaw State might have been 6, 7 years ago. It was DJ Mike. I have him in my phone. I'll ping him every now and then, like, "How's it going?" Now these kids have since graduated. They're working and they're adulting, but it's once you become part of the Half a Sorrow family, we don't let you go, which is kind of cool. It keeps me young. Hey, speaking of young, what are you doing today?
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. Oh, yes.
Well, speaking of young, here's Jessica Seal.
No, yeah, no. I am excited. I am in my community today. I'm going to our high school, and actually, I'm going to to City Hall. And there is a group of, leadership. I can't remember what the name of the actual group is, but it's young people in leadership, or that are leaders or want to be leaders. And I'm going to give a talk about leadership and leadership styles and being assertive and, how to team-based leadership and all of these great skills that no matter what you do in life, I think are super important. And it's funny, and I want to say this because we talked about this before we got on. We were talking with our producer. Um, when I was young, I was not a leader. I kind of was, I guess, in a way. I'll take that back. I was a hellion. I'm going to be honest with you folks. Didn't care about school. I cared
Can
about my
tell.
social life. I cared about popularity. Just being completely transparent. I probably was smarter than I thought I was, but I never studied. I was a CED student. It's embarrassing to say,
You
but it's
didn't
the
apply
truth.
yourself.
No,
Yeah.
and also I want to remind you, I was living in a home with a father who had mental illness, substance use issues. We had a horrible relationship, and it really affected me. So teachers,
Sure.
sometimes young people don't. It's not face value. There were other things going on in my life. However, when I was a senior, or right before my senior year, teachers chose, I think it was 10 students that they felt like were leaders that could work in what they called this, it was, I don't even, Student Success Center or whatever it was, where they would come in to, talk about what they wanted to do with their future. We could help them apply for scholarships, college, all kind of different things. And I was chosen.
Whoa.
It changed me. I
That's a
started
big
going to
deal.
school. I felt like I had a purpose. I felt like I was somebody that was helping others. I felt like I was a leader. Now, I think I would have done better if my dad had not died the next year, because that just really set me back tremendously. But our producer was talking about it, and I was saying, if young people aren't at reaching their potential, or were hellions like me, or, partiers, whatever, don't throw them out. People mature differently. And especially if you experience a trauma, it can stop young people's maturity for a while. So never give up on kids. And I'm excited to be able to talk to these kids, because I'm hoping that I can inspire them to do better, and to work and do some of the things that, I think are important in life, because leadership is not a title, folks. It is a
Yeah.
state of mind.
No matter what life throws at you.
Yeah, no matter what, you never ever know. Like you said, we have a purpose. If you
How
go back 40 years and I saw myself doing this, I would have never believed it.
so how old were you then? You get invited to this thing to be a leader. It changes your life. You got a little strut, you got a little pep in your step. And then the next year, what are you, 18 when your dad
I was
dies?
18 when my dad. I was 17 when I was doing this, working in this leadership role in school, and then my dad was died in October. I was 18. I turned 19 in December. Um,
Mm,
and man, did that set me back.
it will.
I quit college. I was literally partying every single night, all hours of the night, and
Well,
just
we have,
honestly letting people treat me like crap.
well, post-traumatic behaviors. That was
Yep,
that might be from episode 1, season 1, when you told me that term.
very
And
important.
it explained a lot of what, after I was 20 when my older brother died. And then when my younger brother died, I was 31, kind of settled in a little bit. I
Mm,
was married.
hmm.
I was working for a really good company, and like, I don't know, but that set me back too.
Yeah.
That's to this day, I think my brain has been altered by both of those, good, bad, and indifferent. You know, there are things. My wife says your mind works in a different way, and it's
Yeah.
just she means that as a compliment. I look at stuff and go, all right, let's try it this way. And she goes, I never would have thought of that. So there's good, bad, and indifferent. I'm not going to stay in the negative side. Yeah, I got ADHD bad. That's a fact, but probably
Me
had
too.
that before
Yep.
Mark died, just exacerbated it. But we go on. The funny thing about ADHD, like I'm trying to sell hats. That's going to be, I'm
He's
trying to do
he's
fun.
he's experiencing the ADHD right now, folks.
Yeah, exactly. But the only good thing about it is you can hyper focus. So when someone gives you a microphone for that 1 hour, and I got a gig tomorrow night on virtual, I know exactly what I'm doing for that 1 hour. It's the other 23 hours that I have trouble with.
But you know what else people with ADHD have? I believe a creative
Charisma.
mind. Well, yeah, charisma, sure, a creative mind
Well, that can help too. Yeah, exactly.
because you're creative. Well, you came up with the Camo Hat Club. I mean, this is something you created. You created your organization, Half a Sorrow, with a very creative name. I mean, that is, we're not mundane people. We're not black and white. And I do believe some of that has to do with the trauma. I mean, your brain literally, when you
Rewires.
experience a trauma, right? This is science, folks. You will change. And you were saying you were 20, very, very, very fragile age of going into adulthood already. Massive changes, and you have this happen. So, absolutely affected you in your 30s. It was a little bit different. Will wonder how I would be if my dad had died when I was in my 30s, but my brother did attempt to take his life when I was in my 30s, and survived with, permanent disabilities because of it. And so how I experienced that with him was totally different than how I experienced it with my father. And it was my brain had matured some by then. But it was still hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah. We made it. We
We made it.
survived.
I'm excited to see. I wish you could videotape that leadership thing because I've seen you in front of a room, by the way. This is how we met. We're on a couple committees together. And someone said years ago, you got to run into this girl, Jessica Seal. One of Pastor Greg said, you need to find Jessica Seal. I'm like, one day I'll find her. This small world. And then I got to see you at an event and you were running the show. You were like, I was in the audience. You were up front doing your thing. I'm like, shoot, there she is. Found her. It was like years later. And then now you are a leader. So the kids are in for a real treat today.
I got that from my dad. My
That's
dad was like
crazy.
that. My dad was, could get along with anybody and could really get people to follow his mission. And that's, right. I just took on a role. I'm so excited this year as executive director of our state's public health association. And I am trying to move the needle on public health, which I think is very misunderstood right now. And also, hey, suicide prevention is public health, folks. You wouldn't believe this, but
It's
people
pretty,
don't believe that mental health and behavioral health or public health. They
they
absolutely are.
absolutely spot on.
So I think part of the healing too was I also reflected on how proud my dad would be of me. Sure of it, sure of it. And also our neighbor, who I don't want to be too detailed, but my neighbor growing up when my dad died was with my mother when they found my father. So they know our whole sordid history.
Wow.
And my mom works part-time for him now. And
Aw.
his wife came in and said, man, your daughters are going places. And these are people that saw us at the low of low.
Oh, you had the worst day of your life.
And man, doesn't it feels so good for people to give them the hope that no matter what you go through, you can come through it and do well.
Now, executive director of public health for South Carolina, does every state have a public health association?
Well, I'm learning that. I'm getting ready to start meeting with the folks from a few other states here in the Southeast. They do. They look different. Some perform really well, some don't. But right
Yeah.
now, it's the time for change. And unfortunately, public health and politics and COVID and all vaccination, all these things have merged together. And that is all people think about when they hear the word public health. And quite frankly, if you're living and breathing, you're being touched by public health.
Well, it's a public health issue when you lose 50,000 people a year to a suicide. It's a public health
100%.
issue. And you can't swing a chicken without running into somebody that's been impacted by a suicide or knows somebody who knows somebody. You know, they're just, the minute you start talking about it, people go, yeah, they go, oh, yeah, you too. Like everyone
Yeah.
has a story.
Yeah.
You add in substance use disorder, that's about 100,000, but it's coming down. And then alcoholism, all these,
Which is the
desperate.
most abused drug, by the way. People don't realize that, but it is because
Oh,
it's
yeah, yeah.
accepted.
And there's lots of stories out now about, the younger generation not drinking as much. And some people right off the bat said, "That's plus weed's legal. You're going to find something to escape." But I was happy about that news. Being sober 31 years, like, all right, maybe they figured it out that that's not good for you. Alcohol is the most abused drug. It's ripped apart so many families.
Oh,
It's not even funny.
it, I mean, it tore my youth apart because that was my, release from the stress. It wasn't even as much as the alcohol, which I guess it was. It was being in a party situation. I needed to feel happy. And that was what was happy at 19 years old, was going to the bars and dancing and laughing, and waking up in a strange place was not, or having a hangover or missing class. Or now that I look back on it, I'm like, gosh, I was so sad.
Oh my gosh, you just brought up a story about that. Same thing. I'm drinking after Mark died. So I'm 21, 22. We went to University of Delaware on a road trip. I didn't go to University of Delaware, but I went there on a road trip. They were hosting the NCAA lacrosse championships. That was my favorite sport growing up. Bunch of guys I know were at Delaware. We went down there to go watch the game. And I woke up in this apartment. Now, all the students are gone because it's like May,
Right,
end of
right.
May. So they're all gone. So I woke up to the apartment with no furniture. I was in this room. Someone just dumped me in there and said, with one of my friends, I was blackout drunk. I woke up in this apartment and I thought I was in jail because it was just white. There was no furniture. There was no curtains. I'm like, I got arrested.
It
And I
wouldn't be
walk
that
out.
nice.
I woke up and I walk out in the living room. There's a bunch of guys laying around the floor, like, there he is. I woke up, but it was bad. It was bad. So now, I look back at those days, and it's funny because my kids always wanted to hear my drinking stories. I wouldn't tell them because they never saw a dad drunk. 31 years sober, they never saw
Right.
me drunk. But that was one that popped out. That you just saw when you started talking about that. I remember I thought I was in jail,
I mean, hey,
and
I was in jail twice because we talked about this. That's why I'm telling you, it wouldn't be a nice room like that. Let me tell you, it was really scary. And, that brings up a good point about, I work in a lot of different behavioral health spaces. We have a lot of diversion programs I think are super important. So if you think about me and you, say you had been unlucky like me, and that's what it was luck, not gotten in trouble, not, been arrested. I love these programs because think about it. I was arrested. I had been partying. I was in the throes of just, trying to drink away all the pain. I think my
yeah.
dad had been gone maybe 2 years, still super fresh. What if that arresting officer would have taken the time to say, what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, other than just throw me in the drunk tank, which they did, I would have rather stayed there, to be honest with you, than when my mom picked me up. I was scared to death. It was horrible because she was scary, way more scary than my dad. But what if someone had taken the time to just ask? Think about the people that things happen to. If someone would just say, "Why are you here?"
Oh man, you nailed it.
Yeah,
The question I heard the other day was when someone goes on a bender, it's like, let's take your drunk tank incident. If someone says, the normal reaction is you get in the car and your mom says, "What's wrong with you?" And what they should say to you is, "What happened to you?
right,
Like,
right.
talk to me. This is not normal behavior. What's going on?" And they say, "Well, Mom, I'm still grieving Dad and I'm coping with alcohol and it's not working out so good."
Yeah, I love that, and that was not an option
No, we
in
just
my
got
head.
yelled at.
No,
What's
I
wrong?
was. I wish my mom was that nice. She was like, "Get the hell in the car." You know, wake up. I mean, it was horrible. I had a job. I had gotten my first real job. It was just terrible. I can't even express. I literally, that is an experience that I will never forget, that I, up until 5 years ago, didn't say out loud in front of people. And I did. I was terrified because I immediately thought, what are people going to think about me when I tell them, that people see me like you did, as in these leader roles and this, that, and the other. And then they find out, oh, well, actually, she, went to jail twice and was dressed out and, blah, 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 blah. And all these, it stuck with me for so long. Think about other people. Who was it hindering? Mistakes. Who are they hindering
Yeah.
the rest of their life?
But actually, because when you were explaining that, now that I saw you up front and you went to jail twice, actually, I thought more of you, by the way, just now, because what a comeback. Everybody loves a good comeback. What a comeback.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, wow, look at her now. But by the grace of God, you ended up where you did. Some other people keep on that path.
That's
And
what makes me do what I do, Dennis. I can't,
yeah,
and I'm tearing up thinking about it. I can't imagine people feeling the way that I did. I'm really no fault of my own. A young person, I saw substance use in my family. It was accepted to a certain extent. I lost my dad. I had nowhere to turn. This was in 92. We didn't have what we have now. You didn't have virtual meetings.
yeah,
I couldn't even, I was rolling quarters for gas. I didn't have means back then. It was just, I really can't tell you how I pulled myself out of it. There were things, I guess, that came together and just sheer will. Not everybody has that, but that's why I do what I do, because I can't stand thinking that somebody, especially a young person, throws himself away because of mistakes they made, almost to no fault of their own.
true that. A trauma-based, trauma-informed situation where, like, what happened to you? Come on, let's
Yeah.
talk. And I think if we have more officials doing that, then locking them up and throwing away the key will be better. I think this is a great place to end, because you're going to go see these high school kids.
Yeah. Not going to tell them I went to jail.
No, you just did. No, no, you won't tell them that. Just
No.
they need to see where you are,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's more important than where you've been
I
and
may
where you're
say
going.
in some way, you know, I don't even know how I say it. I want them to know that no matter what your situation, so it may not be a trauma. It may be, that I grew up in a family that has, a father or mother that, never went to college, or, we're on government assistance. That doesn't matter. Don't, that I let things like that. I wasn't on government assistance, but we would have been if it hadn't been for my grandparents. I'm sure of
Oh
it.
yeah, you were like
Um,
right on the edge.
but my parents were hard workers, but they also had care for their 3 children. But, I felt like that isn't for people like me. That's for people that live in this neighborhood. You know what I mean? Not this girl that lives, in a trailer or whatever. We've laughed about it, but it's true. But I felt like that success was not meant for people like me.
Wrong.
I know. So
Remember
it
this,
is.
Jessica. You can't spell success without you in it.
Yeah. Hmm.
There you go. That's
True.
our word of wisdom. We're going to end on
That's
that
our
note.
nugget.
Go get them, Jessica, today. I'm rooting for you. That's
Thank
exciting.
you. Thank you.
We covered a little bit here today, and I'll get you the information. I'll get our producer the information for the long-term survivors meeting put on by the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention in Baltimore this year. I'm going to clear my schedule and get there somehow, some way. Watch, I have 1 week of vacation in June, and it's going to be that week.
Your boss is a jerk.
So, I'm self-employed. Wait a minute. I got that.
I told my
I
husband
got
that
that.
the other night. I was like, I'm gonna stop working. This woman I'm working for is just horrible.
She's a
Baby.
biatch. She's a go get her.
Yeah.
No. Good luck with it. And remember, tell those kids, people will never. This is my favorite leadership quote. People will not remember what you told them, but they will remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
That's a fact, Jack. That's Zig Ziglar 101. You need
Oh my
to check
God.
up from the neck up. I used to listen to those cassette tapes driving around Pennsylvania
I
as
know
a
you
pharmaceutical
told me.
rep. Oh my
My
gosh.
husband did too.
That
Must
guy
be
bailed
your
me out.
age thing.
Oh, age thing. Now we're doing old jokes. Okay, got it.
Tim is closer to my age, I think. So maybe he didn't do it. Us young folks.
Oh, so now we're outing Dennis as the old guy. I believe it or not, I can collect Social Security now. I'm eligible.
My husband is too. I love old dudes.
But I went to I'm going to end on a compliment. I gave you a compliment. Now I'm going to end on a compliment on myself. I went to the dermatologist recently, and the woman says, "How old are you?" I said, 62. And she said, "No way."
Mm-mm.
And then she said, "I had you down for 72. No. No. She said, "No way." I said, "Yes way." I said, "Clean living. It
That's
helps.
right. That's
My
right.
liver regenerated 20 times over
That's
the
right.
years." All right, Jessica, good luck today. That's our
Thank you.
episode today. Good luck with those kids. It's a tough subject. Hopefully, made it lighter today by talking about this stuff. And don't listen to your weatherman. Just do what you got to do.
Or
Remember
the news.
or the news. The cavemen, they survived all those winter storms without forecasts. We
That's
can
right.
too.
That's right.
Peace out, everybody.